last round, it was a week of surprises. For one driver, Brendan Hawken, he torched the field, to say the very least, after a topsy-turvy main pack. He ran away from the opening start after able to pull off and away by more than 10 plus seconds with one of the largest history recorded victories in Big C's MX-5 Challenge competition. But tonight, the top drivers in the series are now back stateside, as they're all set to go racing at one of the most historic tracks in the United States. Who will come away with the checkered flag in round 3? We're about to find out here live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome everyone to today's edition of the Sim Experience Countdown to Green, live from the virtual Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for round 3 of season 5 of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. I'm Justin Prince. Lots of the booth tonight is Stefan Schlacker. Behind the scenes, our director Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A lot of history has been made at this racetrack. Let's take a look at your track guide to find out more about today's venue.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
That was a look at your GSRC track guide for Road America. Now, remember, the Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sim Experience AccuForce steering system. With the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. To check out the entire Sim Experience line of products, head over to simexperience.com. Now, these drivers ready to tackle this track. It's been a series staple for many seasons, Stefan. Your expectations and thoughts on what we should see here today at Road America?
Well, it's one of those tracks that not really a lot of people like, Justin, but still a lot of people like as well in the Big C's MX-5 Challenge, because this is one of the biggest draft tracks you can have. That means we're gonna have big packs of cars fighting for a very long time over that first spot that you can grab. Expect a lot of mishaps happening into turn 1 and especially into turn 5, where we have those big braking zones. Also, a little bit hurry downs can be a bit of a problem with this MX-5. The kink, that's going to be your main focus point of issues. Going side by side into there is possible, but both players have to be picture perfect through there. If one guy steps off by just 1 pixel, they are going to cause one massive wreck, because it is just that tricky in an MX-5 as well. So really, keep your eyes peeled, because these guys will need to keep every single time on their toes, because they never know when they will be overtaken.
It's going to be an exciting race to say the very least. So qualifying underway. Let's take the time to take a look at your championship standings, though, because they're very tense. Let's put it that way, because your top drivers are tied after the start of the season. Your 2 race winners, Elvis Rankin from Okayama, Brandon Hawken from Suzuka, 47 points apiece to start off the campaign, with Yamai Torres 1 point back, just 1 in second. Robert Hartley, Sonny Kenshin, and Nico RB Lomi round up top 5. Nico, a good start. 27 points back, though, is the difference so far. For Torres, he came home second, keep in mind, at that race at Suzuka. It's been a crazy topsy-turvy start to the campaign. Now, let's take a look at the race details as one driver or several drivers look for consistency for the title fight.
Yeah, especially, and it seems like consistency is one of the main issues, Justin. Round 3 of this 10-round campaign is always 40 minutes they have to drive in their fixed setups, fixed to the baseline, by the way, if you are wondering. Incident cap, we have one here, shouldn't be an issue around the track like Road America. 20 incident points will be the cap, though. If you are interested in that, and the points pay out all the way down to 15th place. But Justin, we're not allowed to forget they do have to make a pit stop.
Yes, indeed. Expect to be 25 minutes at the longest. Drivers can stretch it today, as we've seen those strategies much different in the past, especially with some of the changes to the MX-5 from the last build. Let's take a look at your qualifying details presented by SH Shifter. SHH Shifter uses only the best commercial plastics to create the high-quality 3D printed shifters you need to give your all on the track. Their commitment to detail and durability ensures you'll receive the perfect shifter. Find them on the web at www.shiftershh.com. Drivers currently taking part in 4 laps of solo qualifying for the next 15 minutes. Strict scrutiny as well. Meaning if you have, say, a spin or try and do iRacing things to warm up the tires, you will get potentially penalized by doing so. In other words, you need to be picture perfect. It's been a picture-perfect qualifying run, though, for last week's race winner who torched the field. And that's an understatement. Brandon Hawken, biggest win we've seen in years. He's on the pole right now by about 3 to 4 tenths.
Yeah, and if you weren't here last week around Brandon Hawking, he was so dominant at Okayama because he got an early break on lap 3 that he was actually able to take 4 tires on this MX-5. That means he actually had such an advantage that he was able to take 2 additional tires that actually do cost a lot of positions normally and still come out on top by 2 seconds over second place once the pit stops were done.
And he still won by the same distance, if not more, than what he had before the pit stops. That's how quick he was at that track, and it was the first time the series ever went to Suzuka. But now, of course, we talked about Road America. With it being big on the draft, it's an attrition track as well. This has been a series staple where this is a track that can test even the best of drivers because some drivers like the draft tracks, others struggle on them.
Yeah, one of those guys is Robert Hartley. He is normally struggling, or he's not really struggling on a draft track, but he doesn't like them, as we were watching Brandon Hawking go through the last turn. Robert Hartley right now sitting in 4th place, also himself about 4 tenths away from Brandon Hawking, who now goes past the pit lane entrance. Let's see what he can do. That is, I think, a flying lap.
Yes, indeed. 2:35.3 is currently the pole time.
Oh!
2:36.1 at the stripe. Doesn't count, though. Had an incident point. Again, they have 4 total the drivers can run for. Overall today, a very big field of 51 cars ready to tackle this track. Remember, top 15 for points, and are all racing to where they'll have their headlights turning on likely within the first 10 minutes. Track temps are cool once more, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 78 degrees. Series staple that all the races start in the evening. For this race in particular, though, the start time is approaching around 7:30 p.m. in sim. And by the way, it's just after daylight savings time as well. In sim day, May 15, 2020, for reference sake today. As we take a look at George Fike from 33rd.
Yeah, this could actually play a little bit into the strategy of these people because they are going to struggle to see their braking points in the last few laps of this race, so they will have to keep a little bit an eye out for a different braking spots to still be able to make the corners.
It can get somewhat dark. It is a quick race, remember. 40 minutes. See how dark it goes as George Fike He nearly says hello to the tires going up the Road America straight. We'll see if this lap counts for him at 2:37.5 this time. Again, the AMS driver looking up a time, and the answer is that definitely can't be right. 44 seconds. Yes, that's an invalid time.
Took the shortcut just after turn 5 instead of turning left. He turned probably right.
I mean, that's a way, I guess, if you have a shortness of time, if you have reset your car, just take the shortcut. I guess. Meanwhile, Thomas Smith, by the way, coming across the stripe, no counting time that time. Well, looks like Austin Smith, he found a shortcut and a half of 22 seconds. Where in the world do you find a shortcut of 22 seconds?
As he starts his next flying lap, Brandon Hawking now coming through the last turn himself. He seems to be on a fast one yet again. So maybe he is able to put another stamp on top of this competition. Still is leading by nearly 3/10 of a second over Juan Matas Torres. Let's see if he's even able to get below that 2:35 mark as he crosses the line. It seems like that didn't count. Oh no, wait, there it is. 2 minutes 36.4, so seconds slower actually than his personal best thus far.
So a little bit slower. Shane Sullivan currently scored in second. Torres third. Rankin Hartley, their top 5 at the moment. James Sharp, Clifford Evan, Dave Chapman in 8th. Fernandez and Arvid Lomi currently scored the top 10 as Justin Taylor decides to run in the grass as his car's all over the racetrack, and you can guess that time probably invalidated. Meanwhile, that's a fitting... Go ahead.
No, I just want to say one thing I've just realized is, especially if we can get an onboard through turn 1, on the outside curb, there's so much dust out there. I wonder if these people are struggling a little bit for that grip out there, because it is just covered in dirt.
I think we might be able to see this in some of the angles here. Here's Dave Chapman. It's just on the left side of the track. You see some of it a little bit on the pavement. Then they go away from that curbing, and then this is where some of the importance of corner management comes into play, because you get a good run in through turn 3. This brings you up to the Moraine sweep, up the straightaway with your best drafting shot outside the front stretch today.
Yeah, and starting to see that through a couple of corners where there's a lot of dirt on the curbs, and also starting to spread onto the track as well. I know they start always their practice sessions on a green track, so there's always a little bit of dust there, but it's incredible how much dust there has already been spread by these drivers making mistakes and going over the gravel traps.
I am counting, by the way, 9 drivers, just 9, Stefan, have avoided incident points in this qualifying session. Of them, Sonny Kunchin, Fernandez, Smith, Nick Carty, Sharp, Joe Cole, Dees Adams Jr., Lee Martin, and Shuri Ishimaru. It's just that type of a track where you can have that happen.
Yeah, very easy to get that happen. One thing that I have also seen now is 20 drivers. That's your mark. 20 drivers. They are within 1 second of Brandon Hawking in this qualifying right now. So, as always, the field extremely tightly packed on pace.
Should note the field has also expanded now to 52 cars. 1 driver has made a late appearance, and Skip Stevens, either way, will not be able to qualify in time. For Brandon Hawking, still on the pole, though, looking like the time more than safe, to say the very least. No one's been able to bump up their times, officially at least, to be able to get up there. No one's even come close to a 2:35.6, let alone Hawkins' time. Not even Sonny here. Quite yet. We'll have to see. Sonny Kenshin right now scored 21st position, 2:36.7.
Incredible how these guys are all struggling. Sonny Kenshin, he is one of those guys that is struggling at draft tracks, so I'm not 100% surprised that he is this far back. As a Shovel Sprem now comes over the line, let's see what he can do here. As Dave Chapman goes up to 4th place, a 444, and seems like that was a 2:45.194 for Shovel, so that is going to be dead last for him.
Final moments of qualifying. Still plenty of drivers have a shot to try and improve their time, such as Owen Watts. This will come right to the end of the clock, in fact. And keep in mind, this track is 4 miles. So it's a massive, massive track where you have something, say, as a reset. It can take you a long time around here, 2 minutes plus, as talked about, per lap on average. Final 10 seconds on the clock. Finley Club driver in RT Sorati trying to bump up his time. Able to get up to 47th right as the session runs out to 0. It's time to look at your pitbox.io starting grid. Pitbox.io is a new cloud-based data platform that allows drivers, engineers, and coaches to store, analyze, and share data such as track notes and car setups to better improve performance on the racetrack. Visit pitbox.io to get started. Drivers getting ready for a standing start. Less than 2 minutes until the green flag sees Brandon Hawken in control of the field. Shane Sullivan will start P2. Robert Hartley, P3 in qualifying, just a few tenths off the pole. But Dave Chapman, a great qualifying run from P4. Torres, Sharp, Elvis Rankin, Clifford Eben, Fernandez, and Kuwaka will round out your top 10, separated overall by 6/10, Stefan.
Yeah, and same time there for Nikol Milomi as Kukukut, so also 2:35.966, but he was able to set his lap time a little bit later than Kukukut, so he starts in 11th. Thomas Schmidt in 12th place with Daniel Ariel Munoz 13th, Soichi Ishimaru in 14th, Christian Lendrot 15th, Jordan Bachmeier and Anthony Burrs line up in 16th and 17th, 18th went to Jared Liebhardt, and the top 20 are completed by Odyssey Adams and Yannick Schmutz.
Take a look at the rest of the grid. Sonny Kenshin of note, 21st position. Owen Watts, 22nd. Caleb Hyde, who was really quick last week, 25th. Dylan Alt, 27th, with Ari Harlow in 28th. Keep an eye as well at Brian Sabalski, who will start in 36th position. George Fike, 32nd. Among our competitors to watch as well as Jonas Seeger, was known for big movers, 39th on the pylon today. Overall, 53 drivers will make it just in time, possibly. Jeff Lee would be that final caller if he can make it in the next minute or so to your starting grid. Again, I'd like to remind you that live timing and scoring is available for today's action at gsrc.tv. Keep up with your favorite teams and drivers across the field today. Overall, the separation for the pole time to the bottom of the pylon, upwards of 10 seconds. Engines are revving. It's time to go racing. Round 3 of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge is underway from Road America. Sullivan with a great start from the outside as Brandon Hawken has the preferred line for the first run to turn 1. Hawken takes the lead. Side by side, several rows deep from about P3 on back.
Bit of a check up in the back going into turn 1, but apart from that, nothing thus far to report. Clean racing in the cars. There's a car off the racing line. That is Robert Hartley in the grass. He's losing 3 positions off the pad from that, and he is going to lose many more because there is momentum heavily lost for Hartley.
The Ryan Race Team machine with a bit of problems. No incidents, though, in the first 3 corners. The Moraine sweep already. Drivers being reminded, please be smart. This is one of the biggest danger zones of the race today. No incidents for your top runners at the moment. No one kicking up any sand even. None of them even really going over the black rumble strips in that section.
Oh, spin in the back. Big crash in the back.
It's about 32nd on back. So several drivers towards the very tail end of the field.
Oh, another one.
Are in trouble in the same section now in the 20s. Your lead cars, though, nice and clean from about 19th on forward. Again, of note, Joe Cole, Owen Watts among the cars who crashed in the second incident are still blocking the track. All your lead cars, though, are able to make it through the carousel clean for the first time as they go to the bend in the kink now for the first time today.
All of our top dogs are involved in any of the crashes. Sonny Kenshin, he is the most notable driver. He got held up quite a bit by the second crash. It happened around the 20th spot. There's now a big gap in behind. but that all didn't affect our top 7 drivers who are still line astern there. Elvis Ranking tries to do something into Canada corner. Not going to be happening for him, though.
After the Bill Mitchell bend and heading towards the Road America straight to end lap 1. Very crazy first lap for a few drivers, but very draft heavy lap to start if you're up at the front. And this is similar to Okayama already in terms of tone. Your pole sitter controls the tempo of the field. Everyone else stays line astern while several others try and leapfrog a little bit here and there. But single file is the name of the game early on here at the Road America Straight. Will anyone take a peek? No, bump draft is the name of the game to save. Well, unless your name is Torres, who likes to gain positions in these types of races here.
Yeah, Habermas Torres, he's one of your main dogs to watch out. He loves these kind of races. There's no tactic whatsoever in these races. It's kind of like a Moto3 race if you're familiar with those type of races. Just 40 blokes going at it like there's no tomorrow.
Of note, Alan Yorwick has crashed now going out through turn 1 this past time by. Again, a couple drivers involved though in that incident. In touch of the lead group though, 24 cars are separated by 8 seconds. 19 cars are separated by 5 seconds in this train. Torres, the biggest mover among your top 10. Biggest loss, Robert Hartley, -6 already in this one.
And that was just because he did drop his tires off the racing line, off the racing track here, and lost all of that position out of turn number 3.
Now one of the main things to think about here is, do you as a driver just want to stay line astern, save the gas, think about the big picture, or do you want to just fight for the track position and try and leapfrog forward? Because we've seen strategy come into play at Okayama, which was fairly line astern for much of the race like this at the jump.
If you're in the top 5, you want to stay in behind, save that fuel. Obviously, if you're the first driver like Brendan Hawken, who is normally a guy that can save some fuel, he is known for that. He is able to do that even when he's out front. Like he's right now getting pushed by second place Shane Sullivan. There's a wreck behind. That was Dave Chapman running into the back of Shamadas' Taurus. Seems like they were able to sort that out though and keep their cars in control. So only a little bit of time lost for those two as they still continue in 3rd and 4th. And to finish my point, if you're further in behind, like 10th and 6th and back, you might want to get into that top 5 to be safe with the guys behind and to really be able to save that fuel. Though it's still a very comfortable position to be in there and save even more fuel.
Already have our first black flag of the race, by the way. Jason Walsh. Black flag for avoidable contact. It was talked about with Isaac Nichols. So we already have one penalty, and already 45 cars are still in the race. Several DNFs early on, as here's the look from Sullivan. Still not willing to make a move. He is willing to just bump draft. However, James Sharp is trying to take a peek behind him of note. Dave Chapman nearly ran over the back end of Torres, and now Sharp is losing touch to the top cars at the moment, right behind this.
Yeah, the real first break is actually back to Daniel Ariel Munoz. That's 12th place. He is already about 2 seconds back on Arvilomi, as there is a pass for position now on James Sharp. Goes up into 4th place. Great job.
Well, that was coming, though. He took a peek to the outside in turn 3. Chapman nearly hit the back end of Torres. That's where that one car length cushion came into play. There's also an air penalty potentially coming up right now for, I believe, the 23 car. And the early incidents with contact with the 51, so fairly penalty heavy race to start off so far today for some of those early incidents. By the way, you have to give a shout out to Chapman. What a qualifying run. After all, graphic design is apparently his passion. You can tell by the look of that car today.
Oh, there might be a pass for position now on him. as that is Rankin going to the inside. He did try this maneuver a few times in the warm-up, and look at that, pulls it off perfectly. Also open up the door for Cookgood, and that is Clifford just ahead of him. As now Chapman might lose 3 positions in just 2 turns, and also up ahead coming up is Torres looking to the inside of second place. And it seems like Chapman at least able to defend the position against Cookgood, so he slides in 7th place.
So Chapman now really falling down the pylon. Your biggest movers so far, by the way, that were not in the back of the field. Hyde's already up to 17 plus 8. Jared Liebert up plus 5 is up to 13. And looking like James Sharp wants to join his teammate up towards the front. The Movado Sim Racing car starting to push the tempo.
Yeah, the question is, though, can he do something with the draft that Torres has to the outside? Monos with the fastest lap just now as well. Oh, gets super slidey on the brakes, nearly hits the door of Torres. But no harm, no foul, and Sharp has to slide in 4th place once again.
Penalty potentially coming up for the 56 of Kip Stevens with contact with that 23 car. The second driver penalized for that contact, but to emphasize what's said on the radio, push, push. That's what Sullivan's doing. Push, push. The car in front with an estimated 12 to go this time. And that does help you with saving fuel, mind you, Stefan, and that's why he's doing it, rather than take the run. Torres, though, it's taking the run to the inside. Ooh. He wants to jump up the train and stop the bump drafting. That builds up the cushion now for Brandon Hawkin here with a massive check. James Sharp can't get the run. Torres lets him back go.
A little bit of a mistake there as well from Hawkin. Drops a tire onto the grass, but it seems like it didn't cost him any momentum whatsoever. And yeah, you can see there's a little bit of a gap now from Torres up to Shane Sullivan, even who was able to take that turn number 6 normal. Oh, what a mistake from Shane Sullivan. These guys are pushing really hard.
See right now as well, take a quick listen on board and some of the throttle inputs. Really trying to go right up to the limit, even to the rev limiters, and trying to execute the perfect shifts here. You mismanage one shift, that can lose you tons of time. Some good racing up towards the front, but you have to think here and think back to Okayama, because there was the undercut, which has been very powerful. With the changes to the MX-5, with the damage model, with some of the updates to the car. How do you try and play this strategy game now? Because it's not quite as simple as stay in the draft and have a drafting partner. If you get a big enough jump, you might be able to jump the train and then some. Keep in mind, the top 21 is still very tight.
Well, we have to be honest here. You have to kind of think like NASCAR Super Speedway right here. You have those draft trains right now. You have to, oh, maybe a move from first. Nope. Slots back in behind there, Sullivan. But yeah, you have to kind of think like on a super speedway. You have to be in a group to be fast after a pit stop. So if you're actually alone, you might lose out quite a lot if you pit too early. If it's just one lap, you might still be good and might even be able to somehow jump the guys in front of you.
Counter argument, they're running laps slower than qualifying right now, by the way. 236s. They ran 235s in qualifying on the road. And we've seen as well how much of a cushion and how hard it was to reel in the gap, though, for Rankin, who is getting dive bombed by Clifford Eben. Your Ryan race team car able to hold on to the spot, by the way, in the backdrop of your top 4. There's that scrap right there. That's opened up the door, though, for the Mind Trick car as big slide for Chapman.
Oh, Cookgood nearly spins out there as he dropped his left rear wheel onto the grass. Able to keep it all together, though. Great shot from Taha. Is now Chapman with a big mistake 4 wheels on the grass, loses a lot of momentum, but Cook on the outside of the carousel thinks better of that, especially with the non-grip available on the outside.
Well, for Dave Chapman, it says time for car over the said car. But right now, it might be time to take a breath. He is -3 on the race. He's got a ton of X's built up the past couple. Might have just gotten one right there as well. And Kuakut has been wanting to make this move for a long while. For at least 2 to 3 laps. They're starting to lose touch with Clifford Eben and company with how hard and how much sliding there is. Race lead, though. Sullivan taking
Oh, another mistake from Chapman, sorry. Oh, Torres gets pinned!
Torres is spun around from second. He's out into the grass, hard into the inside wall. That may trigger him to go in the pits, and it's outside that window. We'll take a quick look on the GSRC replay. James Sharp, the car who turns him.
Yeah, and then that rejoin as well from Torres wasn't the nicest. Nearly caused 2 guys to crash here in this battle pack for, what is that, 14th position, I think, 15th position actually, as they are now 2 deep, 2 wide.
Torres is now back in 19th position. And some of these drivers have been not happy on the radio after some contact in their respective packs. All well, one car in the backdrop there, I think, just slid off into the grass and then some. Of this group, you have Anthony Burrows, Jordan Bachmeyer. Caleb Hides is currently in the last points pain position, +10.
Well, the good thing is for these guys, they're not too far away from that first pack, as we have a 3 wide going into turn number 5 there, and that's also Rek Ishimaru.
Drop up the road. Ishimaru doored Chapman, trying to send it. The year 1 car's in the middle of the track. Torres hit again. Burrows and company sent sliding around. What in the world was that rejoin? Let's take a look at this. You'd see he was definitely bold on the move. Then the rejoin adds calamity.
It just can't get his car stopped in time. Dave Chapman is the guy that gets hit there by Ishimaru. And then just the frustration from that spin floors the throttle once again. And there is the pack coming for him then.
How about that for insult to injury? That is 8 incident points and a lap for Torres. Up at the front, though, it is 1-2 Movano as a result of all the craziness. Sullivan's been shuffled out to 3rd. Rankin's up to 4th. Clifford Eben is up to 5th.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if James Sharp does not get a black flag for that move on Kamana's Stars, because he was the guy that did spin him out, so we'll have to wait here a little bit on the race stewards.
Trouble, Dave Chapman. Dave Chapman has been hit again. The 444 is now getting back going. Was from 9th and finally gets moving. See if we can take a look, because again, this time it wasn't of his own doing. It's ping pong to the tires.
Wow, yeah, that was super unlucky for Chapman at the wrong time, in the wrong spot.
It was the number 85. That is Arvid Lomi, who is in the top 5 in the points, who is able to just avoid all the craziness.
Yeah, he gets hip checked by Daniel Elremunos, and then that's why he got flung into the 85.
Yes, indeed. So again, it's Hawken and Sharp at the top 2 for now. Heleny just give it to Christian Lindroff now for some of the contact towards the back, this time for Rafael Drazic. That was around the 20s. Still no word for James Sharp yet, as we are inside the fuel window from this point forward.
Yeah, and with all the craziness that we have seen already in this race, we can pretty much say the top 6 have separated themselves from 7th place. Robert Hartley, he's really trying there in the background. You're able to see him go off track. He is trying really hard to get also onto that train for 1st place. But he is pushing way too much now, once again off track there as we join him on the onboard.
Now you can see it just with some of the steering wheel movements. They were trying to use some of the pavement coming through the moraine sweep even to try and gain some time. It was something I've seen some of the drivers do, mind you, in warm-up for qualifying. Right now, these cars currently about a second and a half back at the moment, while everyone else is drifting in the middle of the corner. Welcome to the carousel at the Road America in MX-5s, everybody. By the way, the next pack of cars is Arbilomi, Liebert, Munoz, and Smith. P9 on back, which is another 6 seconds overall beyond your leaders, and they're crashing. Arbilomi is turned.
Hard.
Jared Liebert from Dead Zone Racing involved in that. They're still in the grass and trying to crash. Some of them able to hold on. Let's take a look from Arbilomi. P5 in points when you include the tie. They had just been saying, I don't want to pass you, and this is the same part of the track where someone accidentally by bump drafting right here.
How did Nico Arbilomi survive all of that?
That could have been much more, and you can see the new damage model causing the nose to drag. Several cars pin-ponned. Liebert already out of the race. He takes that by saying, I don't want to finish that. Pit strategy is open up, by the way, and all that. Hawken and Sharp have come into the pit lane. Several cars have come out. It's now all these cars as your leaders. It's all mixed about. As Sullivan, Rankin, Eben among the drivers who stayed out this time.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, two teammates in the pit lane at the same time. They're going to try to work together here, James Sharp and Brandon Hawken.
And Hawken is taking the left sides again. Similar call it as before, and these are long stops this time. 18 to 20 second pit stops is how long they're in the box. Hawkins still comes out with Sharp as how low that is the next pack. Should note that Torres saying push, and I think that's not the good time for push. Some of the cars, I think, they had to take the grass, some of them, to avoid all that.
It is the most definitely the time to push for the lead pack. That is, I think, no, Kamaras Torres is not in that pack.
Yeah. Top four are still running off and away. Take a look at all of this. Man, these are cars who still have the pit mixed in. You have Kip Stevens and Lee Martin mixed in. You have Adam Mariak fighting with Fernandez. You have Nick Carty and Sortzi currently fighting along with Hides and Bachmeyer who just come in the pits. Man, crazy run of cars. Absolute madness. Let's put it that way. Right now, these cars in the top four have a cushion of 11 seconds in the next pack. It's 43 seconds to the cars who have pit that they have on cushion. Again, they can go up to an hour 4 minutes, but at this track, that's an eternity. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps, 8 estimated to go this time.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can do 2 more laps with the fuel that they have on board. As also the lights have switched on, so let's see if somebody takes it here. Seems like the top 2 are, the back 2 not, so it's gonna get interesting. Shane Sullivan and Ellis Rankin into the pit lane. Let's have a look if those guys can come out on top over the 3 that have already pitted.
Shimaro also coming in. Torres coming in. He did not get the chance to use the fast repair, mind you. Adams also coming in. Just about everybody else coming in except for Eben and Akuba Cut.
That's Sonny Kenshin with a black flag. Sorry, Justin.
Yes, it's not been a good race for Sonny Kenshin. Black flag for contact with the number 38 car. Will hurt his points tallies. That is huge. He has not been on the track, though, for the past 40 seconds. So that is a black flag from one of your top drivers in series history. Oh, wow. Sharp coming over the hill. Here comes the Movado cars. And the Movado racing machines have jumped them. Robert Hartley also working with them have jumped Sullivan and company.
Rankin got out on top of them, but Shane Sullivan lost so much time in that pit stop.
Yeah, it's similar to what we've seen with Rankin at Okayama. This is not the cushion he was probably wanting, though. Before it was 2 seconds. This time it's maybe 2/10. What a crazy race so far. What a crazy race. By the way, the 38 in reference is Daniel Williams. That was the contact with Sonny Kenshin. Still no word with James Sharp and that penalty. If there will be one, rather. Clifford Evan, by the way, along with Kuakat, still on the track. They have a 42-second buffer. Guess what? That's nearly exactly the same as what we just had there. They are still likely going to cycle with your lead pack, possibly.
Yeah, the interesting part here is Clifford Evan is actually so fast that he can drive away from Kukukut, but Kukukut is coming back to him on the draft, but he's not really able to help him. So pretty much Clifford Evan here on his own to push this car to the limit, as I'm pretty sure they will have to pit and join our pack back for first place.
They're coming in this time. The battle is on, though, as James Sharp is now to the net race lead for now. Looking like as well, Brandon Hawken wanting to try follow his teammate. Novato SimRacing came away with the win last round. Can they do it again here? You have several of the Orion race team cars also in the mix. 2 teammates apiece in your top 4. Main thing's going to be, where will they cycle with Evan and Kuakat now coming in the pit box this time? At times for Rankin, 18.6 seconds in the pit box. You see them trying to get tires. This is going to be pretty tight. Here they come up the Road America straight. I don't think this is going to be enough time, at least, to cycle for the lead. Here they come down the straight. Rankin and Evan fighting off the lane. They're going to be near side by side with some of them, in fact. Right here, Evan almost came across them.
Whoa.
James Sharp squeezes Kuakat. Evan does jump him. James Sharp just got to second and all of that. 3 wide for third. Make it 2 wide again as Rankin still cannot get clear. Sharp, though, with the run, takes the lead back. So the overcut works this time, AC.
Yeah, most definitely. Also, there was nearly a wheel-to-wheel contact between Kukukut and Rankin, as Rankin gets a little bit of a shove by Brandon Hawking from behind. It still is now James Sharp in first place, 3 wide in behind for second. Make that now 2 by 2 for second and fourth place. It seems like Rankin able to hold that second place, but it's still between Hawking and Hartley for fourth place. Hawking with the outside through turn number 6 is going to be the inside for Hurry Downs, who is going to be able to get that position away. Seems like it's going to be Brandon Hawking.
It looks like Clifford Evans said, you know what? I'm going to let them fight, and just ducked off and away and ran for the hills. For Kuakat, this is the best race we've seen him had all season. James Sharp went off the track. Rankin dives it up the inside of the carousel, can't make it work. That nearly was a contact. Six estimated laps to go, and we still have 14 minutes on the clock. What a season it's been so far. Is Rankin, the youngster, looking to try and become a 2-for-3 winner if he can get the point. Big run on James Sharp. Checkup, though, heading to Canada corner as they bump draft. Kuakat wants the lead, though, this time. Sends it up the inside. Big send as Sharp sticks it on the rumble strips.
Oh, look at that in behind Brandon Hawking, side by side now with Elvis Rankin. Is that gonna go well here through turn number 13? And seems like, yep, very much well played by the 2 of them as Brandon Hawking takes away third.
So your lead pack is Sharp, Kukukut, Hawken, Rankin, Hartley, Evans, Sullivan, Fernandez. 1.5 seconds to separation. The rest of the field is at least 6 to 7 seconds back of this group. Here comes Brendan Hawkin now with the draft. James Sharp losing momentum as Kukakut gives him a bump draft. Elvis Rankin now checks up and lets them sort it out as now the teammates back and forth for the lead.
Oh, this is not going to go well. Brendan Hawkin, Robert Hartley onto the gravel once again. They're pushing a little bit too much through turn number 1. Clifford Evans still side by side with him. Now through turn number 3, he's having the inside, so Clifford Evans goes past. This also opens up the door for Shane Sullivan, who will be now in the draft of Clifford Evans and all the cars in front, as it seems like Rankin also tries to do something on Kukakut, really close between those two for 3rd place.
Almost looking like he's trying to side draft in an MX-5. Has the preferred line now. Going out of the Moraine sweep and able to slide it on in. Kukakut gives him some brakes there. Nearly a contact coming off the corner as they work their way towards the hurry downs out of the corner here. Estimated 4 to go this time, give or take. You have to feel for what the drivers are probably having to think about once this is going on, because it seems like if you get the run, they're taking it. Brandon Hawkin, though, is up by 7/10. Brandon Hawkin just about broke the draft on his own there. Big chance for a run coming out of the corner here, though, out of the kink.
Yeah, Brandon Hawkin most definitely once again shows himself to be the master chef in the kitchen when it comes to cooking up a strategy, as Elvis Rankin now once again side by side with James Sharp for that 2nd place. Breaks a little bit earlier. This also opens up the door for, I think that is Clifford Evans to the inside of Kukakut. Yes, most definitely is the case here for 4th place.
Yeah, they're side by side still. Evan now ready to make his charge. Kip Steven, pardon me. Shane Sullivan, rather, trying to help him as contact. Kukakut with a little bit of a tap. No trouble there. That's for P4. 10 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock up the Road America straight. As back and forth for the lead while Sullivan wants to give some bumps. Sharp has traded hands for the race lead. Rankin's up to 3rd. Still side by side for 5th on back. Sullivan's off in the grass. He saves it. Fernandez able to get by.
Wow. Shane Sullivan, what a save there. And also up ahead, the car that you see in front of James Sharp, that is a lap car. That is Kip Stevens, rather, the number 56. So hopefully he's not going to cause any troubles for this battle pack, as they are red hot fighting for all of that position.
Confirmed Sonny Kenshin out of the race. He is now a DNF, 4th in the points. Done for the night. Your race lead, though, sees Rankin trying to make the move before they get to the lap traffic. At the very least, able to jump by Hawkin as they keep it side by side for turn 6. Underneath the Corvette bridge, traffic is now 10 car lengths up as Rankin's got the lead.
A little bit of a break as well in this pack now. Shane Sullivan, 5th place, has dropped a little bit away from the back of Clifford Evans. Clifford Evans tries to make the move on Brandon Hawkin, who just gives up that position. Also Clifford Evans past James Sharp now as the teammates switch positions between Hawkin and Sharp, it seems like. Or is it as they are still side by side through the carousel? How is he keeping that car together on the outside with all that dirt on there? But it seems like it's not bothering the Canadian.
Well, on the bright side, there isn't too many marbles quite there yet, with all the cars kicking up some of the dirt. But Hawkin up to 3rd. Now the lap car's about 8 to 7 car lengths up. And this is going to get tricky when they reach him, because if they reach him down the wrong spot, this could get ugly.
Oh, look at Shane Sullivan, 2 for 1, tries to do it on both James Sharp and Brandon Hawkin. It's not going to go well. He's not going to be able to take Brandon Hawkin, Shane Sullivan, and also under threat of James. Sharp! That was really close.
Munoz now out of the race, self-note as well to add to the DNFs, as now the lap car is about 3 to 4 car lengths up. Kip Stevens trying to move to the right side of the track. Evan trying to build up the draft. Rankin looking to try and get to his left side right here. HVP Simulation sponsored car able to pass by him, and now they have a cushion. Evan and Rankin have built a 1 second buffer in front of Hawken and company, with everyone else having to do with the lap car. Is it a big enough buffer is the big thing. Still a few more laps to go with 7 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, the good thing for Hawking right now is that he has still Kip Stevens right ahead of him, so he's gonna get that double draft. Kip Stevens filling that hole very nicely, otherwise it would have been already too much, as Brandon Hawking is over a second behind Clifford Evan. So very lucky break for Brandon Hawking, but he now has to get fighting to get back into the draft with those two guys. Well, yes, he had the help. He still is outside of that 1 second window.
Sharp has lost about 7/10 this lap. Kugakut is fighting with Fernandez. They're now 30 seconds behind your lead. Brandon Hawken, though, is within reach. Along with Shane Sullivan, they have broken away from the rest of the fighting. What fighting do I mean? All of that. That's right behind James Sharp. You can see the big cushion they've built up now because of all of that scrapping. The thing is, that cushion eventually is going to evaporate at this rate.
Yeah, already down to just 5/10 between Clifford Evan and Brandon Hawking. Now shut up once again to a second after Hawking made a little bit of a mistake out of turn number 8. So a little bit of a give and take there right now.
I think James Sharp may have hit the incident limit. He is out of the race from P5. He is off the track. No technical issue. So he may have reached the 20 incident point limit. So that moves up Kukukut to 5th. That is huge. There goes the teammate help for Brandon Hawken, as now the lead pack is now 4 cars. With everybody bump drafting and everybody kicking up dirt at this point, you have to wonder how much do these drivers have room to push and have to afford risking track limits.
Yeah, well, the also big thing is in that with the DQ of James Sharp, it put a big hole inside the top 10 here, with Kukukut now being far back, 2.5 seconds on Shane Sullivan. James Sharp was filling that hole for them, but now they are completely out of this race for the top 4 positions, it seems.
Yeah, that was their one tow line that is completely gone. They're still scrapping knowing this now, fighting for points all while Rankin and Evan are still trying to bump draft each other. But Brandon Hawken and Shane Sullivan are there. Hawken looking to go 2 for 3. Rankin looking to go 2 for 3. Evan looking for his first one of the season. While Shane Sullivan looking to try and get one of his best finishes in this series. Evan, he now wants to try and fight for the race lead. Side by side, heading off into the Marine sweep once again. He backs it off though. Let's Rankin take it into the corner.
Yeah, and for Shane Sullivan, I think this is regardless the best finish in his career in the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. Top 5, I don't remember him taking ever one of those. So already a very good race for the second place starting grid driver.
What a race it's been for Sullivan, absolutely. Evan, remember, has made his way inside top 5s and podiums before in this series and has been contended for wins several times. Brandon Hawken, he's Brandon Hawken. Elvis Rankin, he's one of the upcoming young stars in the iRacing service. Has won several championships in the MX-5 competition. So many storylines in this group, and they are still running away from the rest of the pack. About 3.5 minutes on the clock. Now it's the matter of how many laps they get, expecting potentially a lap or 2 from this point on. Bachmeyer from the top 10 has now reached the incident limit as well.
Yeah, these guys are really starting to run into that incident limit, but what a heartbreak it once again is for Kukukut. Once again being able to fight for that first place, and once again he hits something that just completely breaks his stride, and now he's falling back 4.3 seconds already back on P number 4.
Of note, Robert Hartley is in P5. That is valuable points on the line. Let's take a quick glance at that. He did pass Kukukut with Fernandez in 7th. They've also ditched everybody else as a result of losing some of their other drivers in this pack with DQs. So these three are losing about 0.6 a lap. If anything happens to the lead pack, these drivers get the chance to fight. Speaking of fight, it's going to be tight. They were within 4 seconds of the white flag as they are 3 wide heading into the first corner. This may be for the win. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Will they get the checker to the white at the stripe is the big question, as it's Hawkin now with the lead. 2 by 2 heading to turn 3. Contact.
Oh, that's a touch!
Clifford Eben is off of the grass. Hawkin holds onto it as Eben is moved back to P4. Lap traffic ahead as well. Here comes Rankin now to the high side. Sullivan wants to work with him. Hawkin goes defensive. Lap traffic is now 7 car lengths up.
Oh,
they door each other off the track. Hawkin now with the slow up. Sullivan makes it 3 wide. Evans back in it. Rankin checks up. Sabarg's Prim now trying to move out of the way from 36 as Hawkin gets hit again. Sullivan is up to 2nd as the lap car moves to the right side of the track, nearly into the grass as they now scrap. This is going to be extremely close if they get the checker or the white here. Again, they were within 4 seconds of that at the stripe. Hearing that there may be one more, we'll have to see. 56 seconds on the clock. And if they have one more, oh boy, the fireworks are going to be hot here, Stefan.
Yeah, if they're already fighting like this on a second to last lap, this is going to go down in a fireball, because now Shane Sullivan tries to go for the lead here against Brandon Hawking. Brandon Hawking and Elvis Ranking, they are wanting to make it 2-4-3 here. Brandon Hawking defends on the inside of the Canada corner, makes it stick as Shane Sullivan goes onto the gravel, holds his car rallycross style on that gravel.
Well, we talked about the incident limit being very tight. Some of the drivers who may have spanked them, well, they're pushing. That next pack, by the way, gained a full second from all that craziness. 7 seconds on the clock.
Oh, in behind, that's a wreck.
And they're crashing behind. Final seconds on the board. Checkered flag. Brandon Hawkin to the stripe. He goes 2 for 3 in the Big C's MX-5 Challenge to start the season.
Oh, big wreck for
crashing again for 5th. Kukukut gets 5th. Hartley finishes upside down in 6th. The last points paying position goes to RV Harlow. My goodness, what a final lap. If they didn't scrap so hard on that lap, they might have gotten an extra one, because they were 4 seconds within that moment at the stripe. They'd stay a little bit calmer, they might have not gotten the checkered flag there, Stefan. That's how crazy that final lap was overall.
Yeah, that last lap by Brandon Hawking and Clifford Eben at 2:39. That's how slow it was. 3 seconds off pace, as we now have once again a fight for 21st coming to the line, as that's Adam Mariak trying to defend that, but to the inside, that is Selman Elpelding who is going to get it to the line. Elpelding has half a car length ahead, so he's going to take home 21st position. Good job there from Simon.
Take a quick break. Post-race coverage coming up after this. You're watching Global SimRacing Channel for the virtual Road America for the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. Welcome back to the Virtual World America for what's expected to be an action-packed minus 273 post-race show. Whether it's on the real track or the virtual track, minus 273 has one goal in mind: to produce the best racing gloves to get the job done. With unmatched comfort, durability, and style, gloves will leave you all buns in the dust. Find out how they can help you by visiting minus273.biz. What a final lap. To put this in perspective, if they didn't lose so much time in fighting for that final lap for position, there is likely a fuel mileage race to end it. Several drivers reported in your top 10 that they were tight on fuel if they got the extra lap, but instead, it's Brandon Hawken, after several three-wide maneuvers on the final lap, holding off Clifford Evan and Shane Sullivan for the win. Elvis Rankin finishes in 4th with Krukaku, one of his best finishes again in P5, another improvement for the 22 car in this series this season. Robert Hartley finished in 6th after finishing on his lid after they crashed several times over in the second pack. Ishimaro, Hides, Schmidt, and Torres, your top 10. What a recovery for Torres. Rounding out the top 20 positions, Anthony Burrows, Rafael Germash, Adias Adams, with Fernandez, Harlow, your last positions on points. Schwartz in 16th, Natashik finishes in 17th, Alt in 18th, Smith and Williams round out the top 20 in this one. Stefan.
Samuel Eperding finishing in 21st, starting from 33rd, so very good job for him. But look at that next driver, Adam Mariak, the 77, qualified in 46th position, up to 22nd, so he can be extremely proud of that race. Same with Brian Schabelski from 36th up to 23rd, and Lee Martin from 44th to 24th, with Jonas Seger, the number 1 driver, in 25th. 27th went to Love 46 Lyubov Oseretskaya, with 27th going to Arturi Sorati, 28th Joe Cole, with 29th Atsushi Maeda, and 30th went to Hayden Gilbert.
40th spot goes to Munoz, with Kenshin DNFing in this one. 41st. That is going to be huge for the championship in his title fight. Lindroth, 42nd. Harvey Lomi also DNF'd in 43rd. Chapman, Liebert, Watts, Tignor, Yvert, Nichols, Olek, Rouge also DNF'd in this one. Justin Taylor also did not make it to the start in this one. Crazy race and a crazy final lap. Several three-wide maneuvers, several bits of contact, but in the end, it's Brandon Hawken with the checker. Brandon, how are you feeling?
Oh man, that was an eventful race for sure. First of all, I just gotta say sorry to Clifford and Elvis there. That was I did not mean to get into them at all. Yeah, with Clifford there, it was like we were really close, and then I kind of got like we touched a bit, and then it kind of brought my car to the left, and I did not mean to do that at all. And same with Elvis, but. Yeah, it was just a really good, really fun race, and yeah, I just apologize for the messy last lap. That was on me, I think, and yeah, but yeah, overall that was just a fantastic race. Yeah, working with James was really good there. We got our pit strategy down just right, and yeah, it's this one, or it's maybe a little bit more hollow than last week, just because of what happened on the final lap. But just great racing by everybody.
Also want to get your perspective on this because it was so crazy that you're within 4 seconds. I know I keep harping on this, of an extra lap. What was it going to be like if you got an extra one on top of that? Because it was reported by Robert Hartley, for example, fuel was going to be tight and potentially even short if that scrapping wasn't so big there and ended up being 3 seconds slower than the main laps recorded in the race.
I actually don't know. After pit stops, I just put away the pit menu there, and yeah, just tried to just focused on racing. Yeah, I don't know if I had the extra lap or not, but yeah, that would have been really close, I think, if we did.
Now, of course, this makes you the first multi-time winner this season and breaks that tie that was up in the front of the points lead. Your thoughts heading into the next race then at Watkins Glen as the unofficial points leader?
Yeah, Watkins Glen, it should be a pretty crazy race as well. It's gonna be draft heavy too, especially without the chicane I think we're running. So, yeah, just gonna try and stay safe, but continue to try and go for these podiums and wins, and yeah, we'll see how we do. It would be nice to get a little bit of a points gap.
Anyone you want to thank for your run today?
Oh yeah, I'd just like to thank Movano Sim Racing team, you guys in the booth, Clifford for the great series we run, all the series sponsors, and yeah, it was really great working with James today. We got it like pretty much on the money, so that was a lot of fun, and yeah, just yeah, looking forward to next week.
Congrats on your second victory in a row after a dominant one at Suzuka, a crazy one here at Road American. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Once again, Brendan Hawken, your race winner today. Clifford Eben comes home in second. Again, a strong finish for him. He's with Stefan.
Yeah, Clifford Eben there, second place for him today. Clifford, I'm just gonna give it to you. What was it like racing in those last 2 laps for that win?
That was crazy. I think Justin mentioned it earlier that we were expecting to go like another one after that, but we got the white with like 4 seconds to spare. So then it changed the game completely. And so Brandon took it 3 wide down into turn one, and I got a good runner on the outside because we split Elvis. And then into turn three, he had a little deeper entry than me. So he had me beat on the entry. So I knew I had to hold like a pretty tight line down on him so I could roll the outside onto that straightaway. And it was a lot to ask of him to keep it down there. I don't really know. I guess we just got together a little, but I'm not too mad about it. That was all right. That's just I had to try to keep him held down so I could get the
Yeah,
run down
looked
into the
very
next corner.
scrappy from the outside there, nonetheless. Um, Talk us also a little bit through your strategy. You were one of the guys that ran the longest there. Was that always your plan, or did you just go with the flow?
Well, I just wanted to save fuel as long as I could, and then try to click off because I had an amount set that I knew when I pit at the end of lap 9, I could take that amount and get to the end. But the goal was to save as much as I could beforehand, so I would have to like be in the box as little as possible. So I was just trying to save fuel and stay out, and then I wanted to go one more
Well,
lap with
Clifford,
Taha.
before we let you go, are there anyone you want to thank for this here race and series?
I just want to thank my team, SimiCube, iNext Racing. They helped me out a lot. It's great to be a part of that organization. Definitely all the league sponsors involved, all the drivers, and you guys for the broadcast.
Once again, that's Clifford Eben from P2. For Shane Sullivan, one of his best runs in this series, able to come away P3. Shane, how are you feeling about the run today and that crazy finish for you?
Oh, I thought it was a blast. Honestly, I thank everyone for keeping it clean, and that was really hectic. I had my heart pumping that last couple laps.
Yeah, what was kind of the strategy for you when you seen all things break out? Because Clifford Evan mentioned it. The 4 second difference for the white flag just sparked pandemonium.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. I remember going into the pit lane, I had a specific amount of fuel that I was gonna take so I could make it the extra lap. And then when that extra lap got pushed away, I had extra gas, which made me lose time in the pit lane, which is when I fell back to P8 or 7, I think.
Yeah, give or take. And then, of course, with some of the craziness, ended up going to a 4 car breakaway for that final lap. But with the points haul today, puts you in the conversation after 3 rounds for a potential run for the title. Watkins Glen is next. Your thoughts there now with a much different season outlook after this crazy one.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely gonna try to go for the title after my disappointing race at last week at Suzuka, which a unfortunate pit stop incident. But I have my best hopes for it. I'm gonna put my best foot forward and try to see what I can do.
P6 is where you're at, by the way, for reference, tied with Caleb Hydes. Currently 5 points back of Clifford Evan for the top 5. Still 77 points total for Brandon Hawken on the season. Anyone you want to thank for your run today overall, though, in that red and white machine?
Yes, I would like to thank, of course, my parents for giving me the support. They're watching right now. I think that's awesome. My friends and peers. I also would like to thank Clifford Edmond for putting on this awesome league that he has going on. And of course, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to put on this awesome broadcast that everyone can see.
Congratulations on the run today.
Thank you.
Shane Sullivan with a heck of a run today. Elvis Rankin was in the conversation as well. Get a quick word with him. Elvis, first things first, crazy final lap. Your take on those closing stages?
Hawkins just squeezing people off the track. That's the only thing I gotta say. Is the you know what? I give him props for at least looking like he's gonna give me the position back out of turn number 4 or turn number 5 up the hill. But then as soon as Shane sticks it in there, he just goes right back at it. And I mean, it's fine. I mean, if that's how they gotta win, that's how they gotta win, and I'm happy about that. He drove an amazing race. He was overall the fastest car on pole, and he had really good pace. But I don't feel like that's the right way to win.
So I take it you don't accept his apology.
I've not gotten anything from him.
Should note that prior to this interview, he did apologize to start off his comments after the win about how that race broke down.
Okay, I was not aware. So I accept his apology. I mean, that's totally fine, but I mean, it still is, you know, in my opinion, not the right way to race. We were having such a good battle up till then. They just closed up to us. There's going to be a good white flag. But I mean, 2 to 3 cars squeezed off in the final lap. I mean, I accept his apology personally, but I don't know how the other guys are going to take it.
13 points the difference between you and Hawkins for the championship lead. Your thoughts going into Road America, into Watkins Glen rather, now for that race?
Another draft fest for sure. It's going to be really important to get a good queue. Thankfully, I did a little bit better than I did at Suzuka for that, so put me in a good spot. But Chalk I know pretty well, a lot better than the last 2 we went to, so I'm feeling really good there.
Anyone you want to thank for your run today?
Yeah, I want to thank the Orion Race Team, our manager, Frosty St. Clair. It's his birthday today, so I was really trying to get one done for him today and step on the top step of the podium, but fell a little bit short. But I want to still dedicate this one to him. He's done so much for our team and guides us all in the right direction. HPP Pedals, Mark, Joel Real Timing, and all my family for supporting me in anything that I want to do, especially my mom, my dad, and my grandma and my grandpa. Big C's Miata League, the live admin, and Clifford Eben. Thank you guys so much for putting the league on today and just allowing this to just be such a super competitive league. But yeah, and you guys at GSRC, but we're going to come back strong next week for sure.
Congrats on the run. Good luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
I was ranking, rounding out your top 4 today. With that, we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's exciting action here from Road America in what ended up being one of the crazier last laps in recent seasons. We'd also like to thank Clifford Evan and Big C's for organizing the Strong Series, as well as the series sponsors, Sim Experience, SHH Shifter, Minus 273, and Pitbox.io for being a part of Season 5 of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. I'd like to also thank the companies who provide the software and hardware for broadcasts listed up on screen. Special thanks go to Jude Luan, who provides for wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of a great work. Thanks again to the team today and Stefan and Sean. If you'd like to find out more including about GSRC including upcoming races, you can find it at Global SimRacing Channel.com. To help support the channel, check the merchandise for sale at gsrc.stormvy.com, or check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you don't miss a moment here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Next race takes place at Watkins Glen. That will start on November the 8th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for what's expected to be an exciting race. As mentioned, the layout could make things very interesting. We'll discuss that when we go racing there next week. So have upcoming races for other series listed up on screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down in your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.